Hello, hello, welcome in everyone, welcome. So today we're going to do a reading around boundaries. This is going to be just stated boundaries. What is spirit? What is your guides? What are the ascended masters, angels, whoever you work with, want to tell you about boundaries? It was interesting, it was really cool to grab one of these. This is the Divine Masters. Because it was kind of pulled in a particular way, and it's going to be, besides this card being first that you pick from, it's going to be the first card that I flip over. It's going to pay attention to the energy of that particular being. Maybe it's similar to a guide that you work with, someone who's trying to prod you in life, right? Sometimes we go through different challenges to actually help us break through some of our own boundaries, some of our own walls. Sometimes it's to establish boundaries because we had none before, and we just let the energy flow through us so freely that we become part of it instead of being, well, maybe not become part of it's not the right word, but we kind of let it take over us rather than us being in cohesion with it. So that's just the first little bit. So take that how it resonates. But we are very close to the, well, when this comes out, it'll be very, very close to the full moon. It's a super moon. It's also, dependent. Well, actually, I think in sidereal and in tropical, it's actually in Pisces. So it's in Pisces irrespectively, just different angles, degrees, I guess. So let's pick your piles for today. This is the crystal card. I usually put it in the description as crystal card and booklet, because if you copy and paste that into Google, you'll find it. It's a big purple box. Okay, and this one. Okay, let's try to get this out of the light. We'll have to spread them out a bit. All right, so we've got 3 piles. Let's take a look at pile 1. For Carnelian, for pile 1, you've got Carnelian, self-trust, relationship rejuvenation, powers of concentration, and healing from abuse. Okay. For pile 2, you have the Tiger's Eye, luck and new ventures, willpower, creative flow, and overcoming fear. And for pile number 3, you have the blue Kyanite, connecting with animals, telepathic abilities, finding your true path, and finding clarity. All right, so these will be the 3 piles today. Sorry that they're so spread out. I just wanted to make sure there was no reflection of light. Pick whichever one's calling to you, or ones, right? In the description below, you can jump straight to your video as always. But yeah, sink into your intuition with this one, because it is talking about boundaries, and we can, kind of be like, no, mine are good, or no, I really need to look at this, but then this happens and this happens. Try to just take it as it comes through. So maybe close your eyes, just feel which one's calling to you. Don't make any rush decisions with this one, because it's going to be very specific each pile, it feels like. Not that I know, but we'll see, right? Once this is out, it'll be solidified in reality. But yeah, I'll see you in your reading. Hello, hello, welcome to your reading pile number 1. You've chosen Carnelian with self-trust, relationship rejuvenation, powers of concentration, and healing from abuse. Really nice, powerful crystal, right? I even have a carnelian here in the shape of a heart, which I really, really, really quite like. And the first thing I got from this was clearly we're talking about boundaries with self-trust and healing from abuse, even in relationship rejuvenation, right? Relationships that are continued or have completely finalized can still have an impact on our boundaries. And sometimes we need to stand up instead of just be like, oh, I can't really talk about that because they get angry with this. Or I don't want to do this because they get upset. This isn't about sitting back and letting it just kind of happen to you. This is about being a participant and a player in this game of life, let's say. All right, excuse me. So let's grab some cards. Oh, I almost wanted to flip it straight away. I'll flip it now and just see what it is. Because it was like, so you've got Joan of Arc. Yeah, definitely a standing up for yourself, right? Stand up for your beliefs. Don't be afraid. This is about having very clear expectations. Now, in saying that, that does not mean that other people are going to follow your rules, right? Or follow what you say. If you say, I don't want you to speak to me in this way, or use these kind of like words or pronouns or language or whatever it is, they don't have to follow that. Now, if they don't follow that, that's a clear sign to you that that is not someone you need to resonate with, spend a lot of energy on, need to take any of their words as purposeful or meaningful to you. It can be hard if you're in the household with them and you can't move out, or you can't like not escape but kind of like leave, right? Then you can limit your energy and how much they kind of like take, right? And that kind of thing. So regardless, that's just like maybe very specific for someone that just needed to hear that. Okay, the words are coming through very kind of like they're like layered on top of words that I'm saying, so it's quite interesting. But this is all about standing up, like self-trust, belief, self-belief, self-trust. Like this is about making sure that you have good boundaries, so that if someone kind of crosses it, you feel confident in calling it out, and not in a way that's triggering, right? Not in a way that's like a trigger, so it's like an overreaction or like a quick kind of like snipe. Because some people won't know certain people's boundaries, and some of our boundaries are different for everyone, right? So it's not like, some of them will be very clear, right? You don't want to get like punched in the face or something like that, right? Obviously, that's clearly an issue, but I'm talking about just small things, like small, medium, large, doesn't really matter. It's just like anything. You want to educate rather than criticize. It's kind of like when cancel culture type thing came on. It's kind of like they did something wrong, we need to shut them all down. It kind of got people to ensure that they're doing what's right, but it was a very like strong reaction to something. No one's going to be perfect, so we can't expect celebrities, ourselves, anyone out there to be perfect. Just educate, help them kind of like learn, and if they aren't going to abide by it or have the intention of pushing beyond the boundaries, then they get kind of like pushed into like, you know, that you can kind of like shift them out of your life in a way, or at least minimize their access to you. You don't really owe anyone anything in that sense, especially when it comes to your boundaries. I would more work on, especially if you've got really good, well-defined boundaries, I would work on how you respond. Like, do you let people walk over? Do you let some people walk over them? I've noticed this with some people. They'll have an issue with something, right? Like there's a boundary or an issue or whatever. Their parents, they'll allow to like constantly walk over it, cross over it, you know, take a dump on the lawn over it, you know, whatever. And then on the other side of the page, let's say, if someone kind of slightly online or a friend or something, they jump on top of it really quickly. And it's because there's an imbalance, right? It's like they may not realize that they're doing it because they're letting some people walk all over them. and then they have to kind of balance that with like being overly strong and overly aggressive, let's say, or assertive, probably more aggressive, and getting that back into balance because they've let it happen here, which is kind of causing pain, some kind of difficulty, let's say, or discomfort. Let's not say pain, let's say discomfort. Okay, interesting start to reading part 1, but this is how it is. You've got the royal baby and the silver spoon. This does talk about inner child, like literally here, inner child, regal, and joy. And in this reading, we're talking about boundaries. So this could stem from childhood difficulties. I think a lot of our stuff comes from childhood, right? Whether we're at school, we have a lot of new experiences. As we get older into adulthood, we kind of have less and less experiences that are new, right? You know, when you're a child, the first time you see rain is kind of like a shock. You can see babies that are put online that are kind of reacting to that. Our first pet, our first death might be of like a parent or a pet. Well, sorry, not a parent, hopefully not a parent, like grandparent or like great-grandparent, right? Something like that. It's all kind of like new, and as we get older, we kind of lose touch with that freshness or newness. And I think this is the reason why I'm talking about this is to bring back, like, these boundaries aren't to have as like a shield around you to protect you. This is more of just like something that's ingrained. It's kind of like you don't worry about your, I was going to say hair, but people probably do worry about their hair. I don't know. You don't worry about your arm falling off while you're walking around the street, right? You're not constantly staring at your arms like, please don't fall off, please don't fall off. Well, I hope you're not. It's such a random thing to say, but it's like, you know, this is something with boundaries. What I'm trying to get to is it's something that's just natural that you don't have to think about. You don't have to go, oh, I need to go put on my boundaries today because I'm going out in public, or I need to get my shield, right? Don't have to do that. This is something that will just flow naturally. The reason why it's coming through here is you're meant to live in love and joy, and the inner child is kind of just saying this may be where it stems from. This may be where it's coming from. It also may be going back to, like, with the example, going back to like parents, especially if you go back to your family or like live with your family, right? You could get into cycles really easily. And for some people, they may find that just normal and fine. But if it's hitting boundaries or walls that you have, then that could be just something to look at if you choose to. So you've got the careless exorcist and the dull with foresight, cleanse, and rushed. This is not to be taken quickly with boundaries, to actually really understand them and go within and get in touch with them. The story of this woman, or nun, right? Sister, whatever, she has come in to help exorcise a demon from a toy, or like what they perceive as some negative entity or energy. So she's gone in, she's like, hasn't really well prepared. She's just gone in thinking, I can do this, it'll be fine, I can do anything. And she's started to do it while also getting into fear. And once you get into fear, it can kind of shake you, right? It starts to be scary. There is like one point I'll just say, that's okay in some cases, like putting yourself into like a position of power or assertiveness or like strength can be scary, and that's okay. That's not talking to that particular part, because Joan of Arc was just like, besides this point. But this card really is touching on to really think and go deep with your boundaries. Your boundaries aren't just like a thing that you place down and leave and walk away. There has to be a purpose and a reason and structure and integrity and a plan and all that kind of stuff, right? As to why you're putting it there, where you're putting it, and how it's to enrich your life, not to block off anything. Okay. All right, boundaries. It's funny that the title, I don't know if it's what it's going to be, but it feels like it's just going to be boundaries. And that's all I'm going to leave it as. So that's all I'm asking is just boundaries. Okay, this card popped out twice, so I need to grab it. Love this for you. The beauty, seeing the beauty within yourself, seeing yourself as whole, right? As whole, even if you go through challenging things that have created these walls and boundaries. I'll say walls are different to boundaries. Walls are more like things that no one can pass. That's kind of like a permanent block. It's almost like if someone tries to, you start to react very heavily. It's kind of like, a war going on and someone going up to the walls, right? They're already starting to shoot arrows, pour oil, light them on fire, whatever, they're doing their medieval kind of warfare. So boundaries are just ones that are there so people can see very clearly. They know that it's not to be crossed, and if they do, there's going to be like a conversation. But also beauty is an interesting one, because to know real true beauty is to go through the challenges and ugliness in life, to really appreciate it. It's like you can't really appreciate something unless you've been on the whole bandwidth of what's possible in that particular thing. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I've eaten, I don't know, potatoes, right? Let's say someone's only had mashed potatoes and that's it. They've just had it mashed, and that's it. Have you had a roast one? Have you had it like in fries or chips or wherever you're from, whatever you call it, right? Potato chips. There's so many different ways. And so you'll be like, oh yeah, I like potatoes, but you've only had it one way. There's like millions of different ways to have it, right? There's vodka. There's so many different ways to kind of enjoy something. So that's kind of where it's talking about, to really appreciate yourself, because this is all about you. This really is about your soul and your heart. See yourself as beautiful. See the beauty and the silver linings in difficult situations, things you've gone through, instead of seeing that as constant like re-wounds. See it as also something that you've been able to overcome, at minimum, right? Because you're still here, you're still living your life. Live your life for you and for your purpose, and do things that give you purpose is really how this is coming through. It's interesting, the song playing is called Longify, which I don't think is the word, but Longify the moment. Like really dive into this, I feel. Give yourself time to really contemplate and think about who you are, and also your gifts, what you are here to do in the world. You're not really here for anyone else, so to speak. There's of course you can be here of service, but even if you're here of service, like you're like a very compassionate, supportive, helpful person, you're also here for your own needs as well. And being open to receive as well as give will really help you, I guess, solidify what that really means for you, and what your soul's here to accomplish. I feel it's really interesting, because it's kind of turning away from boundaries into like seeing yourself as a divine being, which isn't a bad thing. It's nice. Okay. This pile does feel like you do have boundaries. Like you've already established certain boundaries. You know what that's from. You've already gone through many challenges and difficulties. This power of concentration's coming through, of like maybe going on deep dive with the root causes, because some of the boundaries may be really old and maybe they need to be reestablished, reaffirmed, changed, or completely removed, because they're there from an old story. It's kind of like, it's easy talking about it in past life kind of sense. It's kind of like coming into the world and being burnt at the stake in like, an old lifetime ago. And so coming in scared to talk about your spell work, your craft, right? Your intuitiveness, your divinity, that kind of thing. You want to play it small, because what happened last time, you got burned, right? You don't want to go through that again. But this is a different age and era, so it's like, is this worth holding on to now? It's kind of like having a fear from a past parent or something, and that's not in your reality anymore. They may still be there, but that kind of like situation in that time has changed. Okay. It's interesting with, this is the perfect kind of like, speaking of burnt at the stake, I forgot about that. Literally, Joan of Arc getting burnt at the stake. They couldn't get her on what they wanted to get her on, so what they do, they kind of turned her wearing masculine clothes or male clothes as a sign to that she was a heretic or whatever, right? So kind of interesting with that. Not obviously a great thing, but I forgot even about her being burnt at the stake for literally a very piss poor reason, right? But anywho, so you've got the alchemist. It says empowerment, pain, and sorceress. So this is showing that you are empowered through the challenges you have overcome, and you're here. You're getting this reading, so you've overcome a lot. No one's minimizing that. You don't have to minimize it by moving on from it and growing from it. Doesn't minimize what happened. It shows like strength and empowerment through pain. She went through a huge amount, Joan of Arc, literally giving her life for her cause, right? Or what she thought was correct, following the, from what her perspective was the voice of God. But it says here, oh, I don't break that easy, not anymore. Instead, I use things as fuel. This is a great sign to show that you'll still come across people that will trigger you, right? Or like cross boundaries. That's not saying that because you have boundaries that you're risking yourself. It's more like those happen and people get kind of like called out or told off or like educated, and then you feel empowered. That's your fuel. It's not to hurt them or like yell at them, right? Even if they have crossed it before. It's like, I'm not going to lower my vibration to match yours because you want to fight down here. I'm going to tell you up here, and then you stay down there with whatever you want to do with that. You can elevate yourself. Otherwise, I don't need to entertain your kind of like truth, right? Or whatever you've got going on, because that's none of my business. So it's becoming a powerful creator from challenge. Look at that. These cards are coming out so clearly. You've got acceptance, letting go, water, non-resistant. Yeah, this non-resistance thing. It's kind of like here when I'm talking about boundaries and stuff. It's not about trying to like force or push back or tell people how to act. You're not their mother, right? Even if you are the mother, right? You're not there to educate them. In a sense of like enforcing it. You're here to tell them, like educate them on what your boundaries are if they cross them, but because they didn't know. But after that, you're not there to kind of like re-educate. I know I kind of suggested that here, but it's hard to kind of like find a good way of explaining this in English, right? Or in any language. But it's kind of like coming to an understanding that if people are going to keep potentially pushing your boundaries, they're not going to change for anybody. If they're going to keep doing it, I don't need to keep staying in that energy to keep re-wounding myself or like draining my energy. You're here to fuel yourself from those situations. And if they don't kind of like play ball, especially with your energy, then they get cut off and they don't have the privilege of having you in their space for that moment and maybe forever, right? That's up to you. But acceptance, letting go, water, non-resistance, and it says you can let go now, surrender to what is. Sometimes people just are. There's a lot of like contemplation here. Is she pulling the fingers? Yeah, she's literally kind of flipping someone off, right? Didn't notice that. Because she's done what she's needed to do. She's empowered herself enough to know that she doesn't need to hold on to it. And it's kind of interesting because sometimes you'll see people do that, but they'll still hold on to the energy of like the interaction. So they'll respond to it in a very kind of like aggressive way, let's say, and they'll still hold on to it. Regardless if you hold on to it because it pulls you into sadness, anger, frustration, let it go. Accept that those people are just how they're going to be in this moment. Maybe you'll be able to resonate with them at some point, but if they're on a different wavelength and they want to play games, it doesn't have to be any of your business to enforce that, because it's just not going to help you in the long run. It's going to drain you of your good energy. Okay. You've got the Servant Queen. It says divine, magnetic, valuable. It says you are worthy of beautiful things. You're getting a lot of like beauty energy here. This is there may be something coming up for you. I would say take it. I don't know what it is, but it's like an offer. But look, don't just take it. It's right next to patience. But I would say take that opportunity. See yourself as worthy of this opportunity at least. So when you say yes or no, it's not coming from, oh, I don't believe I'm worthy of that, or if that's too much responsibility for me, or I couldn't never do that. You can do that. I don't know what it is. This may be just for one person or a few, but you can. You definitely have the gumption to do it. You are worthy of beautiful things. Yeah, if you are aligned with beauty, then you'll attract beauty, right? Does that mean you'll attract ugliness as well? Absolutely, because you get all the polar opposites. But when you get ugly things, you know to give it to the people that want the ugliness, right? Or you like walk beyond it, past it, or you don't even notice it because it's not in your reality. It's not in your vibe. All right, last card, Harmony. Inner child again. This is definitely coming from this source. If you were like, oh, it's maybe not inner child stuff, you may have gotten through a lot of stuff and overcome a lot, spoken to therapists, people, and really dropped a lot of stuff. That's absolutely great. Like, you know, enjoy that, but don't lose that sweetness, that innocence in who you are. That doesn't mean you have to go out and kind of like go, oh, okay, so I should roll around in the dirt. I mean, if you want to, it might actually be kind of fun, right? Probably not dirt, but I don't know. I'm in Australia, so I'm not rolling around in anything because I'll end up getting bitten by something. But anywho, you know, this is about being soft, still having like an assertiveness and strength, but having that fluffiness as well. It's kind of like, you know how some people, they'll talk about, which is like, let's say a guy who's kind of comes across really gruff, like looks a bit like tough and all that, but it's a teddy bear on the inside. This is kind of like having that strong sense of queenly energy without, like, almost like the servant queen, right? We'll think of a servant as someone who is there to support. It's like, but also is there to stand in their strength. That's exactly it. They can be kind of all these things at different times, right? They can be assertive with the people that need that assertiveness. They can be soft with the children or the people they need to be soft with, right? You can be a multifaceted being, right? Multifaceted being, sorry, not thing, but you know what I mean. You're a multifaceted being, and just because someone labels you or like puts you into a box, that's their business, right? That doesn't mean you go, oh, that means I am this. No, you decide who you are. You decide what you are. You decide where you sit. Okay, I'm gonna grab you a Starlight card as well. I wasn't gonna grab these cards, but I feel like this will just really solidify the message. It's really a nice one. I feel anyway. I don't know, you're the one getting the reading. I hope that the cards here kind of spell out that this is all about bringing, it's almost like all you want is peace, right? All you want is peace and harmony. And I think that's fine, but this is also to step out and be a part of the world as well. There's a blend of introvert and outrovert, like extrovert kind of energy here. You know, if you're going to go into the wilds of the human world, then not to fear it and not to worry about it, not to do it just because it's like, oh, I need to tick this off. Go in there with like good intentions of having a good time, of being at like harmony and peace while things might be chaotic around you. It's like just to experience and observe what's going on out there. And when you're at home, to enjoy your peace, your quiet, your comfort, right? Can have it all, it feels like. You can have it all. But yeah, definitely no rush. This is rushed right next to patience. I said that when I pulled this, but I didn't even know this was going to come out, right? You've got Evolve. It says the cosmic potential flows through you. Anything is possible here. I think there's something coming up for you that you deserve and that you can take. I don't know if it's like work opportunity or like something like that. Could be just even like someone being kind to you and you accepting the compliment. Take the compliment. Take the compliment, pile 1. Okay, I think I've talked enough for you. Hopefully this really helps though. I mean, this is all about boundaries at first, but this is also really about you and your soul, your heart, and your journey from this point forward. And again, with letting go, there is a full moon coming up if you're watching this very early. And if you're not, take the energy as possibility. You can, you know, a new moon, full moon, doesn't really matter what the moon's doing. You can decide when you release stuff, right? You're sovereign and powerful yourself. You don't have to wait for a sun, like the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Mars, you know, they can do their thing. You're doing your thing. As much as they have energy of, you have the power to also utilize that energy, whether it's around or not, to create, you know, to release and create what you want in this lifetime. Okay, well, that's me. Hopefully you've enjoyed this pile 1. That's all I've got for you. If you've enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, give me a thumbs down. It still helps with, you know, what content I should create, I mean. But take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, hello. Welcome to your reading pile number 2. So you've chosen the lovely Tiger's Eye with luck in new ventures, willpower, creative flow, and overcoming fears. Okay, so, I mean, straight away, this is kind of like, it's almost like you've had the energy around you to know what to do with, but you've kind of been putting something off. I don't know how that really relates to boundaries, we'll see, but it's time. I just want to say it's time to really start either enforcing these boundaries or start to have a conversation with someone. Maybe it's not even about boundaries. Maybe it's just like boundaries within yourself. And it's like, I need to do this. I need to say this. I need to have this strength. And that's what the Tiger's Eye is here. It's to give you power. It's almost like you've had the power of Tiger's Eye around you, and now you need to step into it and be like, okay, I need to do this. If not for myself, for my family, for my children, for someone, I'm not too sure. Maybe it's speaking up to a boss. Maybe it's speaking up to a partner. Maybe it's speaking, putting like more kind of like discipline right with children. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but there's definitely something here. All right, let's see what else you've got. Ooh, crazy. I don't know why I said crazy, but it's just like, oh, that's a wild energy. You've got the blue beings. Light transmission, it says wounds healed, important information charging up. Okay, so not so weird. This is definitely like, this is ET vibes, right? This has a lot of masters, divine, kind of like, what do they call them? Angels, and what are those other ones? Deities and ascended masters was what I was thinking of, ascended masters. But you're getting kind of like this energy. So you probably are part of like, you know, starseeds, right? There's a lot of talk about that. Sometimes I think Dolores Cannon had like waves coming through, regardless of like whatever definitions or blah, blah, blah. You're really here to shift or change something. Some of the starseeds are kind of crazy. They've come through and picked crazy lives, right? You've picked some crazy stuff thinking, oh yeah, I'll be fine. But when you come to this density, it's like, oh, this is very different. And yeah, and you're already in it. So congratulations on getting to here. I'll just say that. I don't really have too much else to say about it. But anyway, this is, again, charging up energy, Tiger's Eye. This is about sitting in the energy and letting it flow through you. Kind of like almost channeling through whatever you need to say. I like that the wounds are being healed. Yeah, this is an interesting reading. It's kind of, I don't know if it's too much about boundaries, but it has something to do with your boundaries, right? It has something to do with like how you see yourself, how you treat yourself, how you want to leave and go back to whatever planet you came from, like whatever it is. And I say that not in a like, you're not human, right? If you are incarnated as a human, you are human. Take that as truth. While your soul may come from a different place, you are human in this lifetime, so kind of like respect yourself, your body, your mind, your soul, for taking this challenge. Okay. Ooh, okay. Yeah, you really have a lot of like inner work to do. I'm not saying you have like work to do. I mean, like there's a lot of depth to you. So there's a lot of exploration and uncovering. You've got the carbuncle and the shakana, and carbuncle is not like the saw thing. It's like on your foot. This is a mythical creature. This little kind of like armadillo type creature. But yeah, kind of cute. Kind of cute. It's also about reflection. Excuse me. There's something with reflection. There's kind of like, I don't know what it is, but there's an energy of reflection. So I don't know if it's like putting up a mirror to yourself or putting up a mirror to someone else, or maybe looking in the mirror and then seeing how you feel about yourself, and then recognizing that how you treat yourself mentally or even verbally or physically is how others are treating you, because you're kind of resonating that energy, right? So it's not so much about judging that, it's just like seeing that as truth, and then wanting to like uncover and see more of your soul's beauty and love and kind of like grace, right? And if you are doing that, perfectly fine, right? This is just a message for some. Take it as like going deep and discovering more about yourself. That's really important to knowing why you have these boundaries, why these boundaries are important in this life, why they're no longer important in this life, you know, recreating, adjusting, etc. But yeah, someone is definitely needing to have a look in the mirror with this one. It's not to like judge, it's really to help you overcome and get into a better space for you. It's like, this is coming through. I just got sidetracked, but you've got the savior and the dandelion with hidden power, gentle, and attraction. You know, hidden power is finding that goodness and that love within you. You're not a bad person. You're not inherently bad. Even if you went through a life that was pretty horrible, right? In the past life, this life, whatever, in your home planet, maybe you were even like an ascended master in some sort. Not to give you like a boosted ego or anything, but you might have been like an ascended master in a different space, like a different galaxy or whatever, universe, whatever, I don't know. This is just what's coming through. Regardless if that's true or not, you still have the energy and power of that as if it's true. So that's why it's like you have this energy around you. It's maybe you're just not, you're fearful or worried about stepping into this. Step into it. Step into it. That's all. Step into it. It's like, now it's your time to step into this. Maybe your reading was like not a trick, but it's kind of like, get this reading on boundaries. And now we're like, good, now we need to talk about this. That could be just for some, but yeah, see yourself as beauty and you attract what you put out there. Like I said, look in the mirror, see how you treat yourself, and then have the intention to change it if it's something that's constantly negative, especially if you keep getting that from other people, right? And I'm not saying that you won't ever see people that are toxic, that will still happen, but if it's like constant and like a lot, then it's like, why am I attracting this? What is this? That might actually help you uncover something, so now you can start to like call it out, start to not put up with this person who's horrible, right? Start to like move beyond it. Okay. But yeah, the savior and the dandelion has kind of come here to smell the roses, to look at the nature, look at nature, look at life, look at animals, kind of like just be a part of the world. You don't have to be a part of the grind so much. It's going to be part of your life, right? Especially if you like need money to live and all that kind of stuff. But you don't have to become, that doesn't have to consume you, is what I mean. Nothing in this world has to consume you. You're not here to get caught up in the cycle of karma. That's like generally like a human thing, right? That's very like getting caught up in it. It's very human. And that's why this is a good place to learn and grow, because it's such a big challenge to kind of like overcome, but it's very doable. You don't have to get caught up in it, especially if you're not from here. Why get caught up in something here? You're here to assist and help, and then grow yourself, right? Overcome some stuff, release some fears, energy, and then, I don't know, whatever else you're going to do after this. But while you're here, you're human. Got another healing card. This wounds healed, healing. It's been a big part of why you're here. You may have done also some generational stuff, family healing. That doesn't mean you have to go through to different seers and healers and potions and pills and whatever. If you want to do all that, go for it. But you know, it's you want to find the people that are going to help you and assist you, not so much keep you stuck. I think there's like potential to get stuck in certain cycles with family, with partners, with like you might have seen certain partners roll over that replayed and were like parents or something. I might have had friend groups that kind of turned sour after a certain amount of time, and maybe it's because you were there for a moment, not for a long time, and that's okay. It kind of is shitty, kind of sounding right in a human sense, but like, I don't know, maybe you picked up a lot of things that you wanted to accomplish in this life or overcome. So it's like, okay, you're helping this person, they're helping you, you both grow, and then it's like, cool, we'll be friends forever. And it's like, you're finished. So, you know, go your separate paths. And if you like refuse, then it kind of, something kind of goes crazy or wrong. And it's like, okay, now it's broken down. It's like, because guides are like, yeah, because this was supposed to end. You had a good opportunity to like finish this off or finalize this. Didn't happen. So we have to kind of like, you know, get it to a point where it forces a separation or break. And you could probably see that with some past relationships, right? You're like, this is not good for me. 1 year later, this is not good for me. 2 years later, done. Right? You can kind of look back and be like, yeah, I noticed that, I noticed this. And even if you didn't notice some stuff, it's okay, right? It's just part of the learning process. And I think this is like going back to what this message is all about. This actually helps enforce or understand our boundaries. So we're actually educated on our own boundaries. Whew. Okay, this one. Beauty coming out again. Okay, this came out with the last pile. So if you were drawn to one, feel free to go check that out. It's a very different reading, but just in case, the whole point of this, and similar to the message of that pile, is that, you know, you're here to go through the what is it? The kind of wavelengths. It's kind of like if we had a light, right, and we shine it on a wall or something, and we have a look at the light beams, it's all just white to us, right? We just see it as pure white, and it's like, great, that's the color that's out there in the world, it's white. And then we put a prism and it separates them all into different colors. We're like, whoa, there's so much more out there. And there's more light shades that we can't even see, right? Like ultraviolet, and I'm sure there's something else, but I can't remember it. But you know what I mean? Like, we have to see the range of it. And so coming to Earth, or coming here, is kind of like beauty in itself, to see what's on offer and what's out there to play with. And if you've chosen a lot of different challenges and different things out there, take it as like opportunity to learn and move beyond, not consume you and keep you stuck here, because you're not, I don't think you're going to get stuck here anyway. Even if you're like fearful of it, you're not going to get stuck here, you're fine, don't worry about it. Normally I'd be like, no, everyone's pretty much going to stay here. I think that might have been like a year ago. Now, whoever's getting readings from me anyway, you're obviously not staying here. And you might think, yay, but it's fine. Like, it's not a bad thing to stay here. You're just not going to get stuck here. You might come back to help and do something next time, but you're not going to be like, okay, I didn't do this, now I need to come back and do that, and then kind of like keep going with it, right? You're not really, that's not going to happen. So don't worry about it. But true beauty anyway is, you know, with that mirror, seeing yourself as beautiful, seeing the scars, the challenges, the things you've overcome, the triumphs, the losses, right, the failures, even if you want to call them that, as opportunities to grow, learn, and see yourself as like evolved and transformed. There's no real benefit coming here and kind of just living a very structured life, like you're told who you are, what you do, where to sit, when to eat, when to go home, when to work, when to sleep. You know, you're not a robot. It's just not going to, it's not going to happen. And that's not what Earth is for. There's probably other wild places like that for you. If you want to have a robotic life, and be like, yeah, but it was perfect. And I was like, what did you learn? Nothing. Like, you know what I mean? I know how to follow an order. Well done. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't the planet for that. Okay, I feel like I'm very animated today. I don't know what's happening. It is my birthday tomorrow, so maybe I'm just like on a birthday high or something. All right. So you have the spirit of the tree. This is nature, priestess, and inner peace. It says here, what is she saying? It says, if you're in need of a lesson, there is wisdom in the trees. I like this because it's like, you don't need to learn another lesson. You don't need to go through any more kind of like huge challenge, right? There's going to be stuff that comes up. That's life. We have to make difficult choices and decisions. That's life. But it's like learn and observe from sitting and waiting, or sitting and observing what's going on with yourself, with others, how people treat you, how you treat others, like all that kind of stuff. Like really, really see it, because maybe it'll tell you something that you're kind of pushing on, or trying to force people to be happy, or force people to expand and grow. It's not going to happen. They got to do it in their own time. They got to ask the questions. They got to come to you for assistance, not you trying to like help them, so to speak. Obviously, if they're asking for it, that's and you go to them, that's fine. It's not that. It's more like, I've got this knowledge. I need to tell everyone. Here, I put it out online. No one's listening. I'll just run and tell them on the street. Like, leave people alone. Like, they will come to you when they need to, or they'll go to someone else that they can get the message in a way that helps them, right? You're here to share and spread kind of like love and joy, right? You're not here to enforce anything, it feels. If that feels wrong to you, like I say, take what resonates, go forward, and hopefully it works out. You've got magic, says power, beginnings, transformation. Yeah, you're here to transform. So how do you transform? You go through ups and downs. That's transformation. Don't see it as a negative thing. It says, I'm not underestimating my own magic anymore. Bam! Yeah, do not underestimate your magic, period. But like, you're not going to do that anymore. You're not going to minimize yourself, lower yourself in any way. You're going to sit there regally and let things kind of like come to you when things happen. You know your boundaries, right? You'll know when to call it out, speak to it, say what you need to say. You're going to start probably flowing with source energy pretty freely from this point forward, hopefully. Like, depending on what you do, right? But it does feel like you're good. Like, you're already good. You already know that you're from whatever planet or whatever realm or whatever. I don't know how it all works, but it just feels like you already know enough about that. You might think, well, I don't believe it, but then you'll be watching like alien programs and looking up kind of like fairies and dragons and stuff, and then be like, but I don't believe it. I'm just watching it for entertainment. It's like, sure, Jan. You know, you do you. But regardless, that's okay. Maybe that's how you need to come through and see it. But you're definitely here to uncover more about yourself. And when you uncover more about yourself, you radiate love and light and peace into the world. It's like, what? I don't actually go out there and convert people or like try to like convince people. It's like, no, this is an inner job. This is inner work. And it happens more naturally than you would think. It's not about traveling the world. It's about kind of like uncovering the hidden self. Okay. Growing pains, healing, patience, and unconscious. Yeah, take this with like, you know, peace and light, and take your time with this. There's no rush. You're not speed running life. This isn't a video game that you need to be the fastest at, because the fastest dies the quickest, right? So it's like, and then it's over. The game's finished. This is just like a progression and a process. And if you need time to heal sometimes, and you need to like step away from the world, take your breaks. Take your time away. Take your breaks. Look after yourself. Oh, it says something. It says it's a process. I gotta love that. It's a process. Have you heard that like 1,000 times from spiritual people? Yeah, it's a process. Well, it is a process, but it's like, yeah, it's kind of like annoying / true, right? You know it's true, but it's annoying to hear. Can't really sugarcoat that one in any way. Oh, getting like energy, lots of energy running through me right now. I guess because it's your like wild ET vibe. You've got emotions with alchemy, processing, and sensitivity. Yeah, you're here to really be you, period. All of you, all aspects of you. You might start to feel more, sense more. Even if you're an empath, right? Instead of feeling more and seeing that as like, I'm taking on all this energy, no, you'll be feeling more of your own energy and starting to recognize who you are and who someone else's energy ends, right? So you can kind of send it back to them, let them deal with their own bullshit or whatever it is they need to deal with. No longer taking on all that. You're here to support the world, not to fix it, right? This isn't a fixing thing. This is a support role. But yeah, alchemy, processing, sensitivity, it says here, honoring the flow of all the emotions. Yeah, not seeing like anything as negative. This kind of feels sassy in a way, because it's kind of like, oh, finally she got there, or he got there, or whatever, right? With this kind of like guidance thing. I think it's more of like in a joking way if your guides are like that, like finally you realize that you're worthy, right? Or you're a good person, or you're like, maybe you haven't done everything correctly or 100% right, but that's the whole point of being human. We're wild cards sometimes. Okay, I'm going to grab a Starlight card just to wrap this up. I know this is about boundaries, but sit and observe with this, take some time, recognize that, you know, you have a lot of power and energy from within. Just need to believe and trust it and go within to feel it, play with it, let it out, and then, you know, share it. Share it with those that will listen, not with those that won't listen, because it's kind of like trying to convince someone who's dead set on a particular belief. It's just a waste of time. You're just shouting into the void. And you may as well, instead of going to the void to start shouting, just go lie in the sun. It's much more calmer and peaceful. Yeah, you're getting like this again and again and again and again. Nucleus, the power within the stars is the power within you. Yeah, you're not lesser than anything or anyone. I don't care who it is. And that goes, you know, other ways as well. Like, we're not better than other people. No matter who or how old or where your soul's from, you're not. They're not. The other person isn't either. It's just about taking each moment day by day. And like it says, it's a process, especially if you are healing and growing and getting more connected with who you truly are. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I don't think if you are a ascended master that's come through from another dimension or whatever, that I don't think this world knows it. So you can look up some, but it's not going to help you. You might resonate with some of the messages and be like, oh, that's me. Maybe not you, but sure, take it as like as help. As long as it's not getting you stuck into a loop or ego, and it's just there to support and understand more of yourself, then that's where the cards are kind of pointing you in that direction. That understanding, culmination, seeing yourself as beautiful, whole, and I was going to say perfect. Like I say, no one's perfect, but yeah, it's almost like to see yourself, to say you're perfect is to know that everyone is imperfect, right? That everyone makes mistakes and stuff. So that's perfection. Is how it's coming through. All right, I'm going to leave you with love. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you've enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, give me a thumbs down. It helps with the algorithm at least, or it helps me know what kind of videos I should be creating. So thank you. Take care of yourself. See you next time. Hello, welcome, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. All right, so you've chosen the blue kyanite. Yep, blue kyanite with connecting with animals, telepathic abilities, finding your true path, and finding clarity. I feel like in some way you thought that this power wouldn't, I don't know who it is, but like when I flipped it, I was like, oh, someone's going to get a message for sure. But it's almost like, oh, this power will be the most chillest, the most calmest, the most spiritual, so it'll be fine. And it's like, well, we'll see. So it's kind of funny, but you're definitely going to get like an interesting reading for sure. But don't turn away. You've chosen pile 3. This is fine. This is just about boundaries. Whatever comes through is for your highest good. And highest truth as well. Okay, let's have a look. Ooh, Lady Venus, here we go. So we've got Lady Venus coming through. Call to action. Yeah, it's kind of like, this will be fine. And then it's like, and I say that or make that sound in the sense of like, this is to light you up and to start getting you pumped up for something. Power surge, Earth mission. It's so funny because it's kind of like, I'll pick this and I'll just kind of like hide in the corner. Dope. It's really funny. It kind of feels like lights come through, you've been activated, you know now where you almost like, maybe you've even gone beyond some of the boundaries and stuff and have been like, I need to re-look at these. I need to look at my boundaries. I need to look at my light. I need to look at who I am. I need to look at what I'm doing, where I'm spending most of my time. Am I wasting my energy worrying about things that don't matter? Like, this is really about like a whole cleaning house kind of feeling. Okay. But I do like this because you've got the Earth mission coming through in the Wish Lord. The Wish Lord offers wishes, really. Gives you an opportunity to conceptualize and create something that you want to see out there. So it's like focusing on now, what do you want to bring into your life? This is about boundaries, but it's almost like, your boundaries, like, you know, when they cross, people cross them, you call it out. You may not know why some people cross them or like why a certain person has kind of broken your trust or boundaries, right? But I don't know if it's like for you to really comprehend, understand, and get closure. Your closure is how you deal with it and how you work with it within your own perimeters, right? Within your own actual boundaries. Was it something that they crossed because you needed to look at something? What were they trying to teach you? Maybe it was nothing about boundaries. Maybe they were just like, it was to show their true colors, right? And if they're showing their true colors, then they've shown their true colors. Yeah, this is a big change for you. You thought you could, follow the path, follow the chill vibes, just keep going, and then bam, the light came through. You got awakened. You thought you could just flow with the river down here, and then you're like, damn it, now I have to fly around and be the pretty bird that I am. Look at these colors too. These rainbow kind of like fluorescent colors coming through. Yeah, there's no chill kind of like hiding back. This is your time to shine. And heal, it talks about heal, rebirth, and transformation. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's good though. It's good. It's kind of like, well, I came here to do this, and now I'm surprised that I have to do this. It's like, well, yeah, it's kind of like going to an event and you're playing tennis or something, right? And then you get there and you're like, oh my God, do I have to actually play tennis? I thought it would just like not happen. Well, it's time to play. It's funny talking about this because I feel so happy about it. And I'm like, is this your spirit guides, or is this like source energy of like being very like pleased, right? But also being a bit like, hee hee. Alchemy, yeah, work it. Work the magic. He's also creating the magic. This black candle is like full protection. No one's going to be able to impact you, and you're not going to be able to impact other people if you're kind of like not manipulating, but like working with or like trying to get things in a particular way. It's not going to happen. This has to be a collaboration, not a dictatorship, right? It can't be just like one flow over the other. Yeah. I feel like the last pile got a little bit hijacked by like some energy. It's not like negative energy. It's more like my intention was to do a message about boundaries, and we've got through that in particular places. But also I think your spirit guide, source, God, whatever, has kind of come through with also an intention to give you like an additional message that maybe you weren't thinking would come through in this video. So that's what I mean by hijack. Don't worry, it's nothing negative. We've got the black candle here and nothing's coming through. There's zero chance of that ever happening, period. This is more of like an extra message that's from the light and of source. Okay, well, now cards are flying around, so I'm not going to take these actually because I don't need cards to fly around. All right, so let's see what else is coming through. But yeah, it's your opportunity to utilize your energy and to utilize the energy around you. You're not here to just do one kind of task thing. You're also not here to just create from your own energy. You're here to work with everything that's on offer in some way, right? Some things you won't be drawn to, and that's fine. And it's not like you have to use every single little thing. It's just more of like you're here to kind of deal and touch and work with a lot of different types of energies and potentially people too. This might be a little call out for some. How teachable are you? How teachable are you is just like, are you open to this transformation and change? It's like, I really want this, and then you kind of start on the path and it's like, oh, this is so different to what I thought it would be. I thought it would be just easy and in the light and everything would be dancing around. It's like, no, to really understand the light, you have to understand the shadow, right? To really understand the darkness, you have to understand the light. Like it goes both ways. To understand the benefit of masculine energy, you have to understand the benefit of feminine energy. To understand the toxicity of masculine energy, you have to understand the toxicity of feminine energy. It's not about judgment, it's just about comprehension and understanding, and you're getting lessons. So if some people are pushing boundaries or pushing over things and there's like constantly happening with different people, this could be like a bit of a wake-up call to like move beyond. You're being kind of like pushed by source, by your guides, by people. Yeah, there's no sitting back and being patient here. And if you're open to something, then explore it. You're a badass. You've got the fairy. It says here, blessings flow, magical energy. It says, darling, don't you remember you're a badass? Keep winging it. It's kind of funny because I'm saying like you have to kind of push forward, but this is still flow energy. It's just stepping into your truth, really. Like it's still pretty flowy. It's just more like I'm not going to put up with nonsense anymore. I'm not going to let things fall over when I can see them falling, right? Instead of being there and watching, it's kind of like being an observer and a scientist experiment, and it's like I can see that this is going to happen. I could stop it, but I need to like record it. It's like no, we're not like, you know, creepy friggin' scientist things. You're like, it's time to get in there and kind of play with it. And it's not so much like you have to do a huge amount. It's just more like I accepted the truth that I'm stepping into this position or power, and that's where I am at now. Basically, that's it. You affirm that as like, I'm stepping into my authentic self, my truth, my power, I'll own it. Then stuff starts changing in your reality. So especially if you're watching this and realizing that stuff is weird, people are like not doing what you want, or like things aren't working, it's because you're meant to move beyond it. Or maybe you're meant to like go in a different direction, whatever that looks like. But there's no point playing in the field if you're not enjoying the game, so to speak. So go play a different sport. I don't know why there's sport analogies. I don't really, anyway. You've got the Great Goddess, Transcendence, Divinity, and Shakti. Shakti is power or energy or movement, right? The Great Goddess talks about transcendence. So this is overcoming, moving forward, connecting more with yourself, connecting with your truth. Yeah, you're going to keep getting pushed into this position. It's lovingly pushed, though. It's not like you're being forced into this. It's, like I said, you knew that you came here for this. So don't be surprised when the time comes to start to do this, basically. Okay, I'll take both these. I don't know why I gasped. It's not that exciting. It's just cards falling. You've got Servant Queen and Truth. Interesting. Yeah. You gotta You're stepping into the real you. It says honor, empress, and integrity, right? So it's doing what is right, especially if you've gone down like a shadowy path, right? In certain ways, this is like, okay, it's time to acknowledge and accept what I've done. By doing that, I'm not going to criticize myself. I'm going to make decisions that are right for me and everyone involved moving forward. But there's no stopping this energy. I think it's just a waste of time stopping it anyway. What does this say, actually? It says, that which is true will always be enough. That which is true will always be enough. You'll always have enough to be able to do what you can and want to do and experience in this life. If you've gone down a really shadowy path and missed certain things, don't criticize and judge it. That just takes more time criticizing and judging. Move into betterment and empowerment. If you feel like you've wasted a lot of time, don't get into criticism or judgment of that. Just be like, that was time that I needed to, accept or come to terms with certain things or like move on beyond. Now I'm in this energy of like activation, awakening, power, transcendence, being my true authentic self. And this card here is the Servant Queen. It says divine, magnetic, and valuable. It says you are worthy of beautiful things. Yeah. No matter what you've done in life, no matter who you have like upset, hurt, you're still a good, valuable person, helpful person to yourself, to others. Like you don't have to take on that persona of what you did. Like one thing doesn't have to define who you are. It can shape you, right? One thing could be like really big or challenging or traumatic, in the past that can shape us. But it doesn't have to define us. We don't have to be of it. We can just have experienced it and move beyond it, not be it forever, right? It doesn't have to define who we are and what we are. Okay. But yeah, the finding the true path, you're on track. So how does this relate to boundaries? Because we're really touching on boundaries in this reading, and this is talking about transforming transcendence. I would say the difference between boundaries and like crossing over a threshold into something new, it can feel like when you go into something new that it's negative, right? Because you don't know, you're not used to the energy, you're not used to that kind of flow of energy. And when you cross over to it, it can be like, this is jarring, this is annoying, must be bad, right? And so you go back to what's comfortable. You're getting pushed into something new. So it's not crossing over your boundary, your whole boundary system might be getting an upgrade or might be completely changing. You still have complete authority over it, but you have to be open to receiving and giving energy within this kind of situation and state. Also, regardless, it's changing. World's changing. Nothing's staying the same. Can't have that. Try to avoid a lot of like things that are going to take your time and energy away. Even if you know you're doing it to take your time and energy away. If you know you need to look at something, do something, then try to make some time. Give yourself good balance though, of course. You don't want to just become a full-time kind of like, I don't know, spirit warrior. You're here for enjoyment and fun as well. You're here for balance. But it's time. Okay, let's grab one of these cards and then I'll let you go. You've got replenish. It says the sun will rise and we will try again. There's something kind of funny with this because it's like, if you try to like force this back, it's going to keep coming back up, but it's kind of like, this is just not a great example, but like, it's kind of like, hey, you need some rest, right? And you're not going to rest because you're a human. And so your guides are like, okay, we'll make you sleepy, or like not make you, but you'll start to get really sleepy around here. It's like a reminder to go rest. And you're like, no, I'm going to power through it, take coffee, take some pills, like not legal, but some kind of like energy. supplement, and then you keep powering through it. And it's like, okay, well, you need the rest, because otherwise, and you start getting headaches, and it's like, why is spirit doing this to me? And it's like, but instead of you feeling like there's a message in there, it's like, oh, they're hurting me, right? They're kind of like doing this because they don't love me or something. And so you keep going through that, and then you push through it. You're like, I'm not going to rest. I need to do this, get this done. And then you get like, I don't know, you get sick. And it's like, good, now we'll put you into bed and you'll be able to rest because we need you to rest. And then it's like, no, I'm just sick. I'll take Codral or some kind of thing and I'll be able to keep going. And it's like, you know, that's kind of like how spirit does. And then it gets harder and harder and harder. So the reason why I'm saying that is to not push this down. This is an opportunity to renew, revive, breathe new life into new goals and dreams. Someone might have been taken out of your life too. It might have been a good thing or it might have been a hard pill to swallow, but it's done. You can't force it back. There's no coming back from it. I don't know what that is. That might be just for some people, but it's like certain people have been moved out of your way. And maybe you were the one that needed to be moved out of the way. Maybe they were needed to be moved out of your way, right? It doesn't matter. It's just more of like what's done is done. Okay. Well, I hope this has really helped you, Pile 3. I know it didn't touch too much on boundaries, but you're really here for a particular task that's been awakened within you. You thought you could pick this pile and have a really cruisy reading. Not going to happen. This is kind of touching on boundaries, but your kind of like whole system gets upgraded, so boundaries and stuff will change and shift, and like certain things that you had in the past will be realized as past issues or past kind of like boundaries. Perfect for those times. This is like 2010, 5 years later. That's a different time. Maybe even a week later, right? It's a different time. It's a new age, new era. You're not here for that. All right. I want to thank you so much for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.